Is 2022, 2023, 2024 going to be different? Okay, so we have had, presumably, a bull market top. All right, so if you think about how a crypto market cycle goes, it's essentially a year and a half bullish and 2.5 years bearish. So what happens is that it gets kicked off firstly by a halving event, and there have been 3 halving events so far, and all pretty much had a very similar pattern, which is that after the halving, Bitcoin typically less than a year later would surpass its previous all-time high, and between 50 to 75 weeks from the halving would it hit a new all-time high. So in 2013, it took a year to hit a new all-time high. So in November 2012 was the first halving. And then in November 2013 was the bull market top. And then what happened was a period of essentially bearishness between 2013, where Bitcoin hit $1,200 to all the way in 2016, which is where things started to go up again. And then it took 40 weeks after the halving in 2016 for Bitcoin to hit a new all-time high. So it went above $1,200. And then it took 70 weeks to hit a new all-time high, which was $20,000. And then we had a halving in 2020. Okay, so in between the market top of 2017, which was December 2017, so it took about I would say 16 months. So July 2016 was when the second halving was, and then there was the 2017 high. And then in between December 2017 and May 2020, Bitcoin never once again found 20k. It got close at one point, but essentially the market bled out. And then after the 2020 halving, it took 40 weeks for Bitcoin to hit 20k. And it took 75 weeks for Bitcoin to hit a new all-time high, which was 70,000 or 69,000, whichever. So essentially, every market has done the same thing. It's typically a year to a year and a half between the halving and the Bitcoin all-time high, and then 2.5 years essentially of bearishness, where the price never really actually gets close to the all-time high. But what's different this time? What's different? It's funny because whilst things kind of have stayed the same, if you think about it, like the market pretty much follows the same pattern every time. The difference is that this time, the Bitcoin market was not dictated by the Bitcoin market, as it were. So what happened in 2013, 2017 was Bitcoin hitting market tops because it was a Bitcoin market cycle, right? Or crypto market cycle. But this year, last year, in November when we hit the all-time high, what happened is the Dixie, which is essentially the pricing of the dollar, has been on a bull run. So for the first time ever, Bitcoin has actually been influenced by macroeconomics, where it hasn't been before. Well, not to the extent of ending a bull market. I mean, obviously there's been some, in times, I suppose, of lack of narrative, lack of liquidity, then you see that if the stock market does well, Bitcoin does well. There's like a correspondence there. But never has it been essentially the same thing as the stock market. So whilst we've kind of followed the same pattern in terms of timescales, We didn't hit the all-time high that, mathematically we should have, which should have been about 100k. And that was stopped short, essentially, because of the macroeconomic environment. So if this time is different, does that mean that we could have a different outcome in the bear market or bear trend, whichever we should be in? So in 2023, I think is going to be one of the worst years that the financial world has ever seen. And I don't just think the financial world, I think real life. I think that cost of goods, cost of commodities are going to skyrocket. And there's going to be, I think anyway, some real patterns of turmoil all around the world. Africa, I think, are going to starve because of the war in Ukraine, essentially. And because prices have shot up so much, it's almost not going to be sustainable to have the previous model of sending food over to Africa. So 2023, I think, is going to be bleak. And there have been warnings anyway. Elon Musk believes that there's going to be a recession very soon. And Jamie Dimon of JP Morgan believes that a hurricane is essentially going to hit all financial markets. I think it's going to be awful next year. So that kind of puts us in a situation where we've probably got the mother of bear markets coming up. Now, should the recession hit in 2023, I feel like we have a window of optimism and opportunity between now and November. Okay, I think that October to December is typically a period where markets rally. I think that is possibly going to be the last chance effort. Should a recession come sooner, and we've hit peak inflation already by analysts' kind of words, we should be in a situation where we almost curb the interest rates. So that could coincide with a end of year rally. Should it not? And I don't see the momentum seems like, short term, that there could be a window of opportunity. But should it not? Should we go into a recession sooner? And actually it ends midway through 2023, then there could be hope for some recovery. But I think that really the time is 2022, if anything. So I haven't given up hope. Now, it's a miserable state of affairs when you're hodling and you haven't, pivoted to fiat, and you've got a bearish outlook on the market. And if it was the case that we had gotten out in November, then fine. I probably wouldn't be making this video, and you probably wouldn't give a toss if it was bearish, because you've made all the money in November and previous last year. But most of us got caught out because the macroeconomic just sent Bitcoin down like almost overnight. And so we're now in a situation where we're invested, in terms of time and effort into the market now, hopeful that there will be some form of recovery. And so as far as I'm concerned, we have this window of opportunity kind of between, I wouldn't say now, because I think that we are still seeing the rise of the Dixie. We are still seeing the dollar on a mega rally, a mega pint. So until that calms down, and then it coincides with maybe more borrowing, less interest rates, and then maybe an end of the year bull run, that could happen. And that is where I see literally the only glimmer, see what I did there, of light. Otherwise, then I do think that it's going to resume after the recession and basically coinciding with the halving of 2024, whether that be in March, April or May, June of 2024. So if we have a situation where we don't hit an all-time high again, and there have been some patterns that have never had happened in crypto before. So for instance, Bitcoin has never hit an all-time high after hitting an all-time high. It hit 64k. Theoretically, it should have been the end of it, but it went up again to 69k. So that's never happened before. We've never had that kind of thing before. So by rights, there's a world of opportunity. There's a world of outcomes that could still happen that are different from any other market. But should it stay the same, then I imagine that the next time we're going to see Bitcoin finding a new all-time high will more than likely be 2025. It'll more than likely be maybe beginning of 2025. If you look at historical figures, essentially 40 weeks after the halving is when a new all-time high is hit. And then 70 weeks is when a new all-time high is hit, and 70 weeks is the market top. So we'll have a market top basically end of 2025. That's it, really. So so that's where things are potentially going to go. All right. So as far as I see it, 2022 has been a shit year. 2023 is going to be a catastrophe. But 2022 is really, in my opinion, the only saving grace, I think, for this year. If it doesn't happen, then it won't happen until 2025, basically. 2024 is when the halving will happen, and the market should start to recover if we follow previous patterns and we coincide with an ending of a recession. And then 2025 will be the big year, really. And the thing that you've got to, I suppose, consider in that time is what will still be around in 2024, 2025 versus what's here now, what's relevant now. Back in 2017, Dash was huge, Steam was huge, Lisk was huge, Neo was huge, and they never ever refound their all-time highs of 2017. They never refound them. Years on, strong projects, but never, with good fundamentals, but never refound all-time highs. So I guess what you've got to do now, that was my stomach grumbling if you heard it, what we've got to do now is either wait until 2022 and see what happens at the end. If it doesn't happen, and we go into a recession and it's official, then it's probably the time to take a good, long, hard look at what's going to survive and what's going to thrive between now and 2025. And I think that what it will boil down to is what hasn't yet had a run. What's not gone parabolic, but it's very, very promising and has the funding to last till 2023. And in fact, actually, to build value for 2024, 2025. Hence why Moonbeam, Cadena, Near, and Decentraland, Gala Games, Immutable X, maybe Optimism. Without a doubt, the ones that are definitely going to survive are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Binance Smart Chain. They're going to survive. Solana, Avalanche, Cardano, they have a strong chance of surviving. Purely because I think that they haven't yet fully explored their gains potential. So, yeah, so there we are. So that is basically how I see it. To put it succinctly, that's how I see it. So yeah, so let me know what you think of this, what you thought of this. The historical look at Bitcoin. By the way, if you're wondering what NFTs I've got, I've essentially got OK Bear there and a, what's this? Moonbird. So yeah, anyway, there we are. So let me know what you think of this. Let me know what you personally think are going to be the coins that will last. And I'll see you next time. It is lights out, all out.